What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Bulls Report. My name is Patrick Siepman, and coming up on today's show, we'll be reacting to the first three Summer League games for your Chicago Bulls. I got 5 main takeaways, and the first 2 games are obviously a little rocky, losing to the Raptors and the Kings, but I thought yesterday's performance versus Indiana Pacers was fantastic, specifically Buzelis and Noa Essengue. So we'll dive into those takeaways here in a sec, but before we do so, if you guys could hit that subscribe button today. We're closing in here on 13,000 subs. Just need 178 more of you guys to hit that subscribe button. So if you guys are new here to the channel, please go down there and subscribe today. We post a video around your Chicago Bulls almost every single day here on YouTube. So hit that sub button to help us out here and help us grow this channel. All right, so the number one takeaway I had, and this wasn't really a shocker to me by any means, and it was just Buzelis looking the part, and specifically yesterday against the Indiana Pacers. Now, his athleticism was on full display. Actually, my favorite move he had was a missed dunk. He had a guard on the low block, kind of gave him one power dribble, and he tried to rise up over the top and dunk on him. If he would have completed that dunk, it would have been probably better than the Johnny Furphy dunk that he had on Noa Essengue. I will not be showing you guys that poster out of respect to Essengue. It was one of the worst I have ever seen. But Buzelis versus the Pacers yesterday was pretty damn good. Again, like I was saying, the athleticism was on full display, getting out in transition, making stuff happen, putting pressure on the rim. And, when I was kind of heading in the Summer League and what I wanted to expect and what I wanted to see from Buzelis was I wanted to see like he didn't belong in the Summer League. And that's exactly what he did. Like, you saw his potential. You saw his frame. Honestly, that was the most impressive part, is him using his body a lot more. And I think us Bulls fans need to start questioning, like, how high is this guy's ceiling? Because I was originally saying, he could have an Evan Mobley type of ceiling where Mobley's ceiling is through the roof. He could potentially be a second option on a championship team. But I think the Bulls might have the guy in Buzelis. And, I think Giddey will be a great complementary piece to him when it's all said and done. But I think this is the face of the franchise. I think this is the guy. If the Bulls want to escape this NBA purgatory finally, it starts with Buzelis. It starts with him taking that massive jump in. I don't know if this upcoming season he'll be a 25-5 guy with great defense. Hopefully he'll be around, I'm aiming for about 18 points a night, 5 boards, maybe 3.5, 4 assists, pretty efficient, play some all-world defense. But I think he looks the part. He looks fantastic so far. And, honestly, I was a little nervous heading in the Summer League just to see if we would see that jump, but we saw it right away, and especially in that game versus the Pacers yesterday. But let's show some love here to the rookie, Noa Essengue. Now, he was terrible in the first game. He had 7 turnovers. I was getting really nervous that the Bulls might have just wasted a draft pick on him because he looked that bad. And, even against the Kings, he left that game with an injury midway through the third quarter. He looked all right in that one, but yesterday against the Pacers, he looked awesome, man. 21 points, 7 of 14 from the field. He made all 3 of his 3-point attempts, which I love. But, a couple of takeaways specifically on Essengue. We really saw his length, especially getting to the rim. Like, he'll use his arms to kind of stretch over the top of the defense and just get an easy lay there. But, against the Raptors, he definitely struggled. 7 turnovers, needs to improve the handle. And, my kind of take with Essengue is this is going to take some time. There's no doubt about it. Like, I think year 1 could get rocky where he could be shooting like below 40% from the field. He just needs to add more weight on his frame. Because even in the Summer League, we saw him get bullied in certain spots. But I'm already pleased with the development that we've seen game to game to game. Where it's like the first game I'm saying, oh, this guy might not even be an NBA player. He might be out of the league in 4 years. And the second game, I'm like, okay, we see some flashes. We see some potential there. And then this past game against the Pacers, it's like, we saw what the Bulls saw when they drafted him. Now, I also think it doesn't help with a guy like Carter Bryant. He's been unreal in Summer League, especially on the defensive side of 4. Derek Queen looked pretty good. Beringer of the Minnesota Timberwolves, he looked good. So a lot of these guys that were drafted after Essengue, they looked very promising. So I was kind of getting a little nervous. But yesterday against the Pacers, we saw the flashes. He really impressed me. So hopefully he can continuously build on that. But, again, be patient with this guy. He's the second youngest player drafted. It's going to take some time, but especially in the Summer League, I'm just looking at flashes in certain spots, and he showed that against Indiana yesterday. But you guys be honest with me. How do you feel about the Noa Essengue pick as it stands right now? Seen 3 Summer League games from him. There were some downs, there were some ups, but you guys be honest with me. How do you feel about the Essengue pick? Let me know your thoughts down below. Now we'll get to more takeaways here, mainly talking about my guy Yuki, as he absolutely was balling out. But if you guys want to get this 2 t-shirt combo pack for $20 off right now, hit this link, chatsports.com/Bulls combo. Normally these are $49.99, but right now they're on sale for $29.99. So click that link in the comment section and description of today's show if you guys want to get some more Bulls merchandise in your life. All right, let's talk about probably the most electric player in NBA Summer League history. Not trying to be hyperbolic when I say that, but Yuki, man, I think he deserves a roster spot. Now, first couple of games didn't really do too much. He's coming off the bench. Wasn't really a focal point of the offense, but at least against the Kings game, we saw him get some easy looks for some guys off the bench. But yesterday against the Pacers, man, he was awesome. He had a double-double, 15 points, 10 assists, and I'm not saying he needs to be a rotational guy for the Bulls during the regular season. I just think, with his size being 5'8", 5'9", it's going to be tough for him to crack an NBA rotation. But I think he at least deserves a roster spot. I'd rather take a chance on him than even a guy like Talen Horton-Tucker. But he is just electric with the ball in his hands. He had a couple of unreal passes where his vision's ridiculous. He is one of those guys where it's like, man, what if he was 6'2"? What if he was 6'3"? He could be a solid rotational guy in the NBA, but he's electric. He was getting Buzelis and Essengue some open looks, especially in transition, man. That's the spot that I love watching this Bulls Summer League team play, is because you kind of have a guy like Yuki who can somewhat replicate what Josh Giddey wants to do, where it's pushing in transition, making some flashy passes, getting these athletic wings, some easy looks. So shout out to him, man. He's been a lot of fun to watch. Now, I don't mean to dunk on a guy for playing 3 Summer League games here, but Lachlan Olbrich. He's just not an NBA guy, and it starts with the defensive side of the floor. This guy couldn't guard anybody. He couldn't guard bigs. He couldn't guard wings. He couldn't guard guards. And, I hate saying this, and maybe this is very much of an overreaction from me, but I think this was a complete waste of a draft pick. Hey, shout out to Jerry Reinsdorf. You got $2 million for moving back 10 spots in the draft, and he just drafted Giddey's boy. Well, he just looks bad. He doesn't really bring anything offensively. He runs the floor decently well. He's got good hands. He's got decent touch around the rim. But, man, defensively, he can't protect the rim at all. He can't guard on the perimeter. Whatever you think of how bad Nikola Vucevic is defensively, this guy is that times 100, and he's getting picked on in the Summer League by these guards. He just doesn't look the part, so I don't really think he's going to be an NBA guy. I think he'll be on a 2-way contract and probably fizzle out of the league and be back playing overseas in a couple of years. But I'll say this. I give the Bulls front office some credit here. As you guys like to say, I'm the most negative Bulls fan alive, and I somewhat agree with that. But after watching that game yesterday, and maybe I'm drinking too much of the Summer League Kool-Aid here, but the future is somewhat bright here in Chicago. And it starts with Buzelis. And that was my biggest takeaway from this whole 3-game stretch, is that Buzelis legit looks like he can be a guy in the NBA. And also, at least you can now finally start seeing the Bulls plan and what the front office is trying to build. Now, obviously on paper, we've kind of assumed that, they will have a playmaking guard. They want to get some wings on the outside who can run, who can defend, who can knock down open threes in the flow of an offense. And I was a little nervous about, especially Essengue, but him showing that promise, I see the future of the Bulls. Let's just say best case scenario for Buzelis, best case scenario for Essengue. That's your 3 and 4 of the future. Both super long, both around 6'10", and you have a 6'8" point guard in Josh Giddey. If you get a defensive-minded big and maybe another defensive-minded 2 guard who can knock down the 3-point ball at a high clip, yes, you would need one of those guys to be a true, top 15 player in the world at the time. And who knows, maybe Buzelis is that, but that's some lofty expectations. But I can actually see what the Bulls are trying to build here, so that was a positive. If I was doing this show after that Raptors game when the Bulls had 34 or 35 turnovers, whatever it was, I'd probably be killing this front office. But at least after yesterday, it was a lot of fun to watch this team. They play with a fast pace, and there's just a couple of players to be happy about if you are a Bulls fan. But what is your biggest takeaway from Summer League so far? You guys let me know your thoughts down below, and also hit that subscribe button on your way out. We'll keep you guys posted with everything around your Chicago Bulls. We'll see you guys next time. As always, go Bulls.